Okay, so if you're moving to Dallas-Fort Worth, make sure you stay tuned through this entire video. I'm going to cover 10 things that you need to be on the lookout for before you make that move. Here we go. So welcome to the channel. I'm Michael, and these videos are intended to showcase a local's perspective on life in and around Dallas-Fort Worth, and we'd love for you to follow along. And I'm also a flat fee realtor here in the area. So if you're looking to buy a home, whether it's now or in the future, or looking to sell a home and take advantage of our flat fee full service listing model, which saves you thousands opposed to paying the typical traditional 6% real estate fee, feel free to reach out, give me a call, text, or email, and then the next step from there could just be setting up a quick Zoom call to discuss and process your situation and how we can best help. So let's talk about some local insights on things that you should know before moving to Dallas. And number one is that if you live in Dallas, you probably don't live in Dallas. And I know that sounds probably kind of stupid, but when people and clients are looking to relocate, whether it's from another city in Texas or moving out of state and relocating here to DFW area, more times than not, they start their search by typing in Dallas real estate. But after analyzing and taking a look at the different amenities, features, cost of living, commute times, etc., more times than not, almost guaranteed that they wind up not living in Dallas and instead opting to go for one of the many flourishing suburbs around the area. And I mean, if you're a local living here and talking to different people, they might ask where you live. Of course, you're going to call out the suburbs. But if you're going back home, or if you're going out of state, or if you're talking to people while traveling, they're going to ask where you're from. Almost guaranteed you're going to say, hey, I'm from Dallas. Not Dallas-Fort Worth necessarily, but you're going to be, I'm from Dallas. So it feels good to represent Dallas for sure, but there are so many other areas and suburbs that you're probably going to wind up establishing yourself in. So I just discussed the many suburbs around the DFW area, which brings us to point number two of things that you need to be on the lookout for and to factor in before making a move to Dallas is going to be about the suburbs, and that the suburbs are getting super congested all around the area. And the growth and popularity of these suburbs have of course been going on for a long time, but we really started dialing that in and seeing a huge boom in growth kind of during those COVID years when people were trying to move outside of the city, get away from that cost of living and get into the suburbs. But with the many different companies, developments, growth, new construction, opportunities going around in the suburbs, people are, hey, like I said, relocating. Of course, they're picking out the suburbs instead of Dallas in the city. But people even locally that live in Dallas or live in Fort Worth, they're getting out to the suburbs as well. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of living in the suburbs as opposed to living in the big city. But even talking to different locals who have been in certain suburbs for decades, they're starting to get sick and tired of the huge popularity and population growth and development that's going on. All the new multifamily apartment buildings, ongoing road construction, widening of roads. I mean, it does get pretty insane. But when pinpointing which area and which suburb that you choose to live in, just be aware of this as being a factor on, I guess, the comfort and lifestyle that you want to live. So now moving on to number three, and that is that DFW Dallas area is still one of the fastest growing metroplexes in all of the country. So DFW continues to boom when it comes to job growth, creation, economic factors, etc., and favorable conditions compared to a lot of other kind of metro areas and major cities and hubs throughout the country. You know, Dallas and Texas especially is still a desirable place that a lot of people are coming to for many reasons. But with the median home price as of 2024 kind of hovering around that $450,000 mark, we're definitely still way more affordable than a lot of the other big city metro areas. But if and when interest rates do start and continue dropping, that is going to breed a whole lot of buyers who've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the interest rates to drop to get back into the market. And then compare that to the still low amount of home inventory available for sale around the entire DFW area. More buyers looking for homes, not a lot of inventory to choose from. So that's going to continue to be a benefit towards home values and home prices, because DFW and Texas as a whole is a very desirable place to come and live and own property. And I don't see that changing for the foreseeable future. Which brings us to number 4. and that is that us local Texans, it seems that we're getting priced out. So what does that mean? And I already kind of covered on it in the previous topics, but when it comes to the amount of competition that's currently out there, whether a lot of people relocating into the suburbs and the cities around the area, you know, a lot of these people coming from different states such as New York, Florida, California, etc. They're coming and want to move to DFW, and they're coming in with pretty deep pockets. And with the amount of home value increase that we're starting to see around the suburbs and in the city of Dallas-Fort Worth, you know, a lot of these people who are, you know, whether it's coming out of college, looking to move out of a starter home, or just looking to upgrade or downgrade the home, the amount of competition that's currently out there, I mean, it's still pretty competitive. So what are some of the locals deciding to do? It's to move to a completely different, maybe more rural suburb that's going to be more cost effective and beneficial for them. And I'm talking to my clients, different sellers all of the time. And for example, I have some clients who are kind of in a certain situation where, hey, they would love to sell their home. Why? They're currently in a great neighborhood, great suburb, community, etc. Raised their kids in phenomenal schools, but now that the kids have moved out, gone to college, and moved out on their own, they're wanting to downsize a home. But as they're taking a look within the same community, similar neighborhoods, etc., but for a smaller home, the amount of prices that they're seeing out there, they were like, what the heck, why would I want to be in this community, but I don't see myself paying this much for this type of home. So, I mean, it can be a bit tough, especially for some of the locals out here looking to move up into a great community or downsize their home into their same exact neighborhood or same type of community, when, hey, people from out of different states or that are more accustomed to way higher home prices and cost of living, they're coming here and kind of stirring up competition and driving up home prices, making it almost unaffordable for a lot of the locals out here, which is fine. It's all part of the game, but that's just something that you might want to be aware of if you're moving to DFW area. So another thing to be aware of if moving or relocating to the Dallas-Fort Worth area is that I hope that you're okay living in a homeowners association or an HOA. So if you're looking to buy a home here in the DFW area, it's not a definite, but almost a guarantee that you're going to be in an HOA. And depending on who you talk to, this can be a phenomenal, great thing, or this can be a total deal breaker. These HOAs and master plan communities do come with phenomenal benefits most of the time, such as community gathering areas, nice lagoon areas, community pools, features, benefits, amenities that these HOAs offer, which is phenomenal. But of course, a lot of those HOAs, hey, definitely comes with an extra price tag account into your total cost of living. So that's definitely something you need to be aware of. But I've also worked with clients who are totally against HOAs and in no way want to live in a house that has a homeowners association. But like I said, HOAs have its good and bad. But when it comes to doing a property search and finding a home, for those clients who are totally against HOAs, we started doing our property search. For example, we did a home search, $500K and below was kind of their price point goals that they wanted to be in. And then I factored in and kind of customized the search to show me all homes $500K and below in a given area with no HOA. That pulled up very, very limited options to choose from. So we were looking at properties, talking about it, figuring out, hey, your wants, needs, desires within a home. And these kind of low options of properties that we were seeing with no HOAs, it's kind of defeating. It's kind of disheartening because we weren't finding the home that they exactly would want and look for. But then I kind of, after multiple conversations, said, hey, well, let's kind of just be open to opening up our options to include homes with an HOA. So we expanded that search. And for example, a home search went from being 20, 30 homes available to over 200 different options to choose from. The majority of those being in an HOA. So it definitely opened up our horizons, which kind of brings me to the point of this right here, is that you're probably going to want to include homes that include an HOA. So overall, whether you love or hate the aspect of living in a home that is in an HOA, like I said, the good more times than not always outweighs the bad. But to keep your search options kind of open and have the best amount of homes to choose from, you probably are going to have to include homes in your search that have an HOA. The next thing you need to know if moving or relocating to DFW is going to be those commute times and traffic. And look, this one's probably pretty obvious and something that you're already whether used to or considering or factoring into your decision if relocating to the area. Of course, all major metroplexes are going to have commutes, etc. But with DFW being just pretty much a concrete jungle as a whole, everything being so built up, whether, hey, from suburb to suburb, it's kind of like you're all driving through one massive city. And for example, me living in a suburb north of Dallas, I'm pretty much factoring in a 30, 45 minute or an hour drive to all kind of the major areas and events that I want to go to, whether it's the city of Dallas, whether it's Arlington, going to different baseball games, football, etc., to go watch the Rangers or Cowboys, or Fort Worth, or even the 2 airports that we have here in the DFW area. Pretty much anywhere that I want to go kind of major effect is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour drive total. And that's not even factoring in the typical traffic that goes on. But no matter what suburb or Dallas or Fort Worth, the city, no matter which area you pinpoint that you're going to want to live, almost guaranteed that you can, to get to any major shopping, dining, city area, sporting event, etc., any type of attraction, you could probably almost guarantee that it's going to be a minimum of a 30-minute drive. And another thing that you definitely want to be aware of, especially if you're not familiar with North Texas, is the complete weather extremes that Dallas-Fort Worth experiences year in and year out. Of course, when people think of Texas, they think of those long, hot summers, and that could not be understated enough. I mean, when it gets hot here in Texas, there's still a little bit of humidity, so it's not a dry heat or super humid like different sides of the coast are and that I've experienced. But here in DFW, we got a little bit of humidity, but that sun cooks you. So pretty much from March, April, all the way till, heck, I want to say more times than not, even October, it is brutally hot. And unlike other places around the country, like for example, I got in-laws in California, so when I go visit California, yes, it gets baking a dry heat in Northern California, like during the day, but at nighttime, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so refreshing. It actually gets chilly and cold at night. Here in North Texas, not so much. When it gets hot, it stays hot. Day, night, for long periods of time, and it's brutal. But again, something that you just learn to live with. And then when it comes to these sporadic cold fronts that it seems about, hey, once a year we'll have a week where it gets absolutely sub-zero freezing temperatures, and if that's mixed in with any winter storms or rain or snow mixed, it's come to show that the DFW or the Texas grid system as it's currently situated, depending on who you ask, they say it's even built for the summers, but during the summers when it's brutal, energy and the grid kind of struggles a bit to keep up with the amount of demand. But when it comes time to where, hey, Texas has come to a freeze situation, the amount of energy that's being used puts people into a panic. If the roads are iced over, we're still, like I said, maybe once a year we get these types of extremes of cold, freezing weather, but we ain't accustomed to that. I mean, people, they shut schools down, etc. People stay off the roads, electricity and power is going out. So those sporadic winter freeze storms, it can get brutal. But then throughout the year too, one thing that North Texans, especially DFW, needs to be aware of is the amount of hailstorms that we get. So at least a few times a year, we're gonna get pelted with hailstorms that can be pretty dang damaging to your property, to your roofs, etc., and your cars and vehicles. So all of these weather extremes that come with DFW, it's just part of it. That's kind of what our neck of the woods in our part of the country experiences. Of course, depending on where you go, you're either dealing with hurricanes, wildfires, avalanches, I don't know, just kind of different weather extremes. But that's just those things that I just pointed out are going to give you hopefully a good idea of what you can expect of the weather extremes and climates here in North Texas. Now moving on to number 8 thing that I wanted to point out, if you're looking to relocate to the area or unfamiliar with living in North Texas, here's something that you need to be on the lookout for, and that is the amount of homes foundation problems that we have here in DFW. So the majority of soil here in Texas is clay. And what does clay do? It expands and contracts, all dependent on seasonality. And during these long, hot, dry summers, because of no rain during those long, hot summers, all the clay is going to shrivel up and dry up. right? And then if you don't keep your home's lawn watered and irrigated, you're gonna start seeing fissures and huge cracks in the middle of your lawn. So you definitely gotta keep that watered. But have you ever heard of watering your home's foundation? Because that is something that you definitely wanna factor in, consider, and actually do if you're a homeowner here in DFW. But overall, the soil that we have here and the climate, humidity, weather changes that we have definitely make an impact on your home soil, therefore your foundation. So that's something that you're gonna wanna keep an eye out on if living here in DFW. And moving on to the next thing, and that is if DFW is for your nature or people that love the outdoors. And the quick answer is no, not so much. So overall, DFW is not really known for its natural beauty. Now don't get me wrong, DFW has some phenomenal green spaces, parks. We have a bunch of different lakes around here, which is phenomenal. Bike trails, jogging trails. But for those people who are looking for a little bit more rugged area that love to be out in the woods, kind of be out in the wilderness, kind of live in seclusion, you ain't gonna get that so much here in DFW. And like, for example, I have some clients that moved here almost 2 years ago now from Colorado. They came to DFW, picked and choose it, and we got them in a great suburb, but they were looking for, a better cost of living, better place to raise their family per what they thought. They're looking for great school systems, etc. But since keeping up with these clients, just checking in, how's things going, how can I help? I start to get the sense of, and they told me straight up that they're getting a little bit homesick. And again, they're super happy with kind of the other living accommodations, cost of living that they're getting here and a good place to raise a family. But where they were in Colorado, and they're huge bikers. So when it comes, and of course, like I said, we got good biking trails, but when it comes to experiencing the outdoors, nature, wilderness, you just don't really get that so much here in DFW. But again, that's just something that you gotta be accustomed to and used to, and it's fine to get over when you have all the major huge benefits that living in Texas and living in DFW do provide you. And now we're at number 10, and that is gonna be the cost of living here in DFW. And check out my other videos where I do a complete breakdown of the entire specific cost of living amounts per family dynamics and situation. But right here, I just want to give you a pretty quick overview of the cost of living in DFW. So overall, when I'm talking to family members or different clients looking to relocate and they're checking out the DFW area, they overall see it as phenomenal. When it comes to grocery, gas prices, eating out, dining at different restaurants, etc., they were like, oh my gosh, I love Texas, I love Dallas-Fort Worth. You guys have way better prices than we do in other states that they're coming from. So on those factors, Texas beats almost everybody. In DFW, you get to experience and enjoy some of those benefits in terms of cost of living. But one thing that Texas and DFW is not great at and has a huge negative impact on the cost of living is going to be these dang sky-high property taxes that Texas experiences. Just for example, the property tax rate on average around DFW and Texas as a whole is around 2% and a little bit over 2% total as a property tax rate. But when you compare that to the rest of the nation and the country, where the national average of a property tax rate is about 1%. And that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when it comes to paying an extra couple to a few plus $1,000 per year just on your property taxes, there's a lot of people that kind of think, hey, well, does the cost of living, the shopping, dining, gas prices, etc., overweigh and overcome the amount of property taxes that you have to pay? And luckily, back in 2023, the governor of Texas, good old Governor Abbott, the House, the Senate, the Texas legislature, they approved a proposal that is going to slice property taxes almost in half. And that is through their new property tax home relief bill. The only caveat is to experience these tax breaks on your property taxes, you have to have your home homesteaded. And that's fine. Most people, of course, are homesteaded. They just have one home. But if you have different investment properties around the area, you're going to be paying the full 2+% property tax rate, which is still thousands or a couple thousands extra dollars compared to the national average. But right now, in comparison, that's about the only major caveat or con when it comes to the cost of living in DFW, and that's property taxes. But hey, seriously, check out our gas prices, our shopping, our dining, or that side of cost of living. But that's just kind of a quick pros, cons of what you can expect in terms of the cost of living here in DFW. So no matter where you are, if you're looking to relocate here to DFW, or if you're looking to sell or get out of DFW, and of course take advantage of the flat fee, full service listing model, I got you covered. And if you're looking to relocate here, I hope this video gave you some true locals perspective type of value of things that you can expect if you move here to DFW. Like I said earlier, give me a call, text, email, then we can set up a quick Zoom call to discuss you and your situation and how I can best help. So hopefully you got some value out of this, and until next time, we'll see y'all real soon.